I wanted to switch gears a bit. And talk about astronauts and space travel and what you've been doing of late in the relation to aging that astronauts experience, which I think most people probably don't. But when you go to microgravity or you're in space flight and you're space station or wherever, you're going to accelerate the aging of the systems. Can you tell us a little bit about that and Cosmic Biosciences and what you're doing?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, that's a significant shift from what we've been discussing, but not so much. Not so much because this whole new program that I started in my lab, and I started also a company based on that, relies on initial conversations I've had with a principal investigator at the Human Research Program in Houston, NASA, who reached out to me because she said, David, all the research that you've done in the immune system and aging seems to be key for the identification of biomarkers to protect our astronauts from accelerated aging. And I didn't know either that suffer from accelerated aging in space. But NASA and the European Space Agency have identified several risks and hazards associated with spaceflight, and they're all due to microgravity, not so much to radiation, because you're largely protected from radiation in the International Space Station. But they suffer from 5 times increased risk of cardiovascular disease, astronauts do. They suffer from cognitive deterioration and motor skills. They have immune reactivation of viruses, variety of viruses that we typically control here on Earth. They reactivate in space. And then also musculoskeletal conditions like frailty and loss of bone mass and muscle mass. So it's really an ideal model to study accelerated aging in humans. It's like the natural follow-up and segue from the 1,000 immunomes that we did on Earth.
Yeah.
But on steroids, right? We're accelerating by about 30 times, 30-fold, every single aspect of physiology. And so that really kicked off a whole new program that I started in my lab of space medicine. And so with that, we envision a way simulating microgravity in the lab. And there are instruments that were developed by NASA engineers that do that. And so they keep the cells in free fall, and they basically subtracting gravitational forces from the cells, organoids. You can't put a whole organism in there. These are very small instruments that will take cells or organoids.
Which is quite an interesting thing in itself.
Today we can
mini brains,
mini brains, 1 or 2 mini hearts. Yeah, we call them organoids, right? And then we put them in microgravity, and you can accelerate the aging in 24 hours. You have a vast majority of aging features that get accelerated significantly by about 5 to 7 years. So it's pretty dramatic. And so imagine they develop diseases until they develop. So brain organoids develop synucleinopathy. This is Parkinson's disease. Cardiac organoids have cardiomyopathies. When you look at gene expression and when you look at functional, or we also have immune organoids that come from tonsillectomies, from tonsil material. And we also expose them to simulated microgravity. And that way you can start to age those, mini organs and study the mechanisms of aging, but also screen for protective agents. So imagine you could do this in 24 hours, right? So the ability to screen, hundreds of different potentially anti-aging molecules in 24 hours gives us this very unique window to that aging and to possibilities, therapeutic possibilities.
My mind is just blown. When I heard this the first time, I was just like, for a start, I was like, how did you get space travel for starters? Because I was like, that's really left field. And then I was like, Now I get it, because it's an accelerated aging model that you can speed up the process of being, and you're perhaps going to help astronauts live healthier, longer lives, because these guys and girls are pushing their bodies to the absolute limits, coming back with age-related diseases for 1 year in space. I think it was 30 years of age advancement that they're coming home with, and thank goodness they do rejuvenate to a large degree when they come home with many of the things, but still they are aging themselves by doing.
There are on the endpoint, some hard endpoints may take many years to go back to baseline, so definitely it is an area of high interest to us. In fact, this all started from a grant that I had from NASA, from the Human Research Program, to protect astronauts. And so that's definitely on the table, mostly pivoting on that accelerated aging mechanism to cure aging on the ground.
Because you get to accelerate the testing and the seeing what causes the aging, what's the aging of these organoids in microgravity, we live in 1G. We've evolved in 1G, so anything that is above 1G or below 1G seems to cause accelerated aging. So not just microgravity, but if we were to go perhaps into 2G, 3G, whatever, we'd have a similar sort of problem.
That's exactly right. So as I mentioned, I think anything that you experience that is new to you as a species will trigger inflammation. We talked about different exposome factors. Certainly, if you have evolved in 1G for the beginning of life on Earth, and you're deviating from that, either hypergravity or hypogravity or microgravity, you will suffer from an accelerated aging response. So I really see this as an opportunity for us to advance the field of protective geroprotectors, we call them, to target aging and age-related disease, ameliorate different maybe severity of disease, and also largely
this is absolutely fascinating. And Dr. David, I know you've got to wrap up shortly because you've got to get to another appointment, but I could talk to you for days, obviously, because I'm just absolutely fascinated by this work, and I think we've got a lot of things. I think I'd love to have you back on when you have more research and to further this and involved with the IH. I want to try that myself, maybe do something with that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's make that happen. I'll reach out to Heather and we'll talk offline. But I think this is pretty pivotal, and it's quite a shift in all of this, because I really think that this is going to have a massive impact on humanity's health in the future. And, give it another 4 or 5 years when this is fully matured and ripened, and things that you can do are going to be absolutely exponential. And I just want to thank you for such dedication. It's just absolutely amazing. And your dad was right. You have a bigger impact on a worldwide scale doing the work that you do. So it's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. David. I really appreciate you.